Hey there, and thanks for joining GamePoints, our weekly get-together. We talk about the weeks in gaming news. News? Already true to form. I've already screwed up the intro as we go right on, but whatever. I am your host, Stephen Brown, if I can actually finish sentence today. Joining me today is David Smith. Sean is not here today. He has had some work issues and couldn't attend. Tonight we're going to be talking about what the hell Kingdom Hearts 2.9 is, the new upcoming Destiny expansion. But first, let's get into some more Metal Gear love. Now, we talked about this a bit last week, but you weren't here last week, so how far are you along, David? No spoilers, by the way. If you're watching this, we are going to talk about this in the vaguest terms possible.
I'm at the spot where I'm in the place where you do the stuff and collect tapes for sweet 80s jams.
I hear that. Actually, I have a man-eater on nonstop play when I'm in the helicopter.
Nice.
Good old Hall of Notes.
Dude, I've been rocking out to some kids in America.
Oh, who's saying that? It's like
pretty
Tiffany
great.
Or something like that?
It's whatever it is, man.
Fair
I'm
enough.
actually not that far. My vacation came at a inopportune time. I was planning on picking up after that, but instead Sean decided to do me a solid and pick the game up for me. So I had it right before my vacation and played as much as I could in that 3 days before I left.
Well, there you go then.
But I'm digging it. It's great. It's everything I wanted and more.
We will do a spoiler cast for this game eventually, probably a month or so from now. I've been playing through it, and it is simultaneously, to rip a headline that I saw off Games Radar, it is simultaneously the best and most disappointing Metal Gear I have played.
All right.
And let me explain what I mean by that a little bit.
I think I have an idea what you're going, but you go ahead.
As far as the gameplay goes, it is by far the most superior Metal Gear out there. The open world does it well. It controls better than any Metal Gear I've seen to date. When things happen, it feels so right. When things go horribly wrong, it still feels so right.
Mm-hmm.
You can do so much. The game doesn't hold your hand. It'll go, okay, go rescue this guy. He's in this compound. And that's all it tells you. So it's up to you to go, I want to murder everyone. I want to sneak in with a box. I want to go in at night. It gives you all the options to do it any way you want.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the way it feels, the way the plot goes, it is like the bare bones minimalist Metal Gear story I've ever seen.
It's the exact opposite of MGS4.
Yes.
And I totally get that because there's one thing, and this doesn't spoil anything, but the game is broken into missions. And you can just sit around and keep doing missions and kind of have a pace to the game. But you can stop and take a break and do other stuff. But the main thing is that anytime you complete one of the missions, no matter how small, so you're talking about going and rescuing some guy, right?
Yeah.
You go and rescue the guy, and you complete that specific task. You rescue someone from wherever he was, and then you get credits, which is the weirdest shit to me because it's mission complete, and then you actually see credits produced by Hideo Kojima. Here are all the people that were voice acting in this specific mission. Here's the people that helped with lighting, direction, entertainment, whatever. And it's just really strange because it kind of breaks it up for me. Because then I go to a loading screen, and then I get a stat screen, and then I get points.
Yeah,
and
it's definitely I don't want to use the term immersion with this game because Metal Gear was never meant to draw you into the world with how off the wall it is. But it's very...
I kind of disagree entirely on that. Is that with the off the wall, is that it brought you in and kept you there and took you on this ridiculous roller coaster. That's been the way Metal games have always been for me.
Well, there's a difference between intriguing and immersion.
Okay.
But I will say the way he does break up what was traditionally the game where you expected, okay, I better clear off the next 4 hours because I might hit that 90-minute cutscene. And he turned it into essentially kind of like the equivalent of an Adult Swim program where you can sit down and watch it for 15 minutes, be done, and then move on to the next. It was never been more apparent until now that Hideo Kojima wants to direct television.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that getting into it, the only gripe I have is with that the mission system, because it's the exact same gripe I had with Metal Gear Rising, is that I mean, I know that game wasn't supposed to be a traditional Metal Gear game, but the fact that game had missions and a clear screen at the end of every section drove me insane. Yeah. Because for me, it breaks what I'm trying to get out of it,
It does interrupt the flow of the game.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going with. Is the flow isn't there for me. And The weird thing is as much as it bothers me and it bothers my younger self, I'm actually really thankful for it. Since at this point in time, I'm not a 16-year-old kid living in my parents' house playing Metal Gear. I can't play games for 6 hours a day.
Yeah, no, understandable.
Being able to hop in and get in through like a mission in 45 minutes is great. Like, it's one of the reasons I've gotten into MOBAs so hard, is because you can jump in and play a match and then be done.
Yeah, that's where the economy comes in. As far as the gameplay goes, it's by far the best. As far as like the plot stuff goes, I don't know. I'm gonna have to finish it before I can make a final call on that. But right now, it's gameplay. It's number one. Story, it's down to the bottom, and that's kind of disappointing. Figuring this is the swan song.
Now, did you play Portable Ops 1 and 2 and...
I played Peace Walker.
Peace Walker, yeah.
So I kind of had an idea what I was getting into when I got into this. But Peace Walker was still even more story-driven than I've seen with this so far. Like, after every mission...
And the strange thing is that was a PSP game. Yeah. Like, that was a game that had missions and breaks, but in between missions, there was a lot of stuff that happened.
No, exactly. And that seems to be lacking in this game. Which might be explained here right now, is that data miners from facepunch.com, I have no idea what that site is, but I'm going to give them credit for finding this, apparently found evidence that an entire third chapter of Metal Gear Solid 5 was just cut. It's just gone. The biggest culprit is apparently they found a title card that said Chapter 3 Peace. The game is broken up into 2 chapters currently, or 2 acts. The first one is Revenge. The second one is something. I don't remember what the second one is called. But apparently, yeah, entire third chapter was cut. Now, this is piggybacking on stories that there was a Mission 51 that was heavily detailed, was supposed to really tie in this time till Metal Gear Solid 5 into Metal Gear 1, like the very original Nintendo one. And it just sounds like all these are gone. Now, if you check out the link that I'm going to be posting down the bottom on the YouTube page, if you want to go find out, or you just go to facepunch.com, I'm sure it's one of the top stories there.
Although, warning, there will be spoilers if you go that way.
Yes, there will be spoilers if you go that way. Good point. Now, this isn't a spoiler because it was actually cut from the game, so it's not in the game anywhere. But apparently one of the recovered assets from that forum was a body image of the boss. Not Big Boss, shit. The boss.
Yeah.
So she might have made an appearance in a flashback or a dream sequence, or physically might have been in the game in some way, shape, or form. And just all this stuff is just gone. It has been removed from the game. Does not exist. And then someone else was mentioning that, remember the trailers a year or two ago when he was running around in this African village and he saw all these child soldiers fighting and there's flames everywhere and he falls to his knees and screams? All of that stuff's not in the game either.
Oh, weird.
None of that makes an appearance. From what this forum says, I have not played that far into the game myself yet. Though it does all make sense considering that Konami is done with games. Konami and Kojima had their split. Konami was very, it sounds like they were very
It could have been something they were working on and they wanted to have it in there, but Konami pushed it out enough that they weren't able to complete it or something.
Sounds like they were having issues with Kojima taking his time with it and they wanted to get out the door fast. So it makes sense, which is just even more damning the way we feel about the story, that it sounds like it's going to end, like it's not even going to matter, which is a shame because we're already griping about the story where we're at now. And this is,
but to be fair,
we're not one for the most part.
We're not that far. I mean, it's totally possible the game picks up story-wise crazy later.
I know that my
you never know.
Yeah, fair enough.
When you're looking at a Kojima game, you never know.
Scuttlebutt is Act 1 is the strongest, and then it just goes downhill from there. But I have to see for myself before I can make that final call.
Yeah,
I'm just
I can't
saying
be mad at it. I'm done
all
with it.
of this makes sense to me. One final note before we move on to the next topic. Remember how a month to 2 months ago we were all worried about Hideo Kojima's name being taken off this game?
Yeah, that totally did not happen at all.
That fucker's name is everywhere in this.
Well, because that's the other thing, is anytime you complete one of the missions, it says directed by Hideo Kojima.
Yeah,
my single favorite thing about this, though, is when this game was, like day one, when this game was released, about 9 or so hours after it came out, because like, basically when I got home the day it was released, I went to Steam, and I went to go look at the reviews, just to kind of see what it was getting, from the initial scuttlebutt and whatnot. And it was the greatest thing ever, because 9 out of 10 comments, and there was shit tons of comments on there, but 9 out of 10 of them just said Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. It definitely feels like a Hideo Kojima game. You could play it and you just know he did it. So it's not like they fucked with it. Oh, I know I said that was going to be one last thing before I move on, but there is one other thing I want to mention. The online stuff is complete and total bullshit, and the fact that it slows your menus down to a crawl when you play the game in online mode. So I just completely disconnect my game from online.
Yeah, I have like no intention. It's actually kind of annoying that every time I boot up, I have to see all these stupid like online screens that tell me all this dumb stuff that I don't care about.
You can tell that shit was shoehorned in at Konami's instance because it breaks everything. And I mean, it literally slows the. You know how you have your iDroid and you're flicking through menus. I don't know if it's like this on the PC version which you're playing, but on PlayStation 4, if you go to any of the mother base options, it adds like a ton of time to access those menus. If you're
just getting to the menus is dragging.
Yeah, I don't know about PC, but like for example, I go through to my mother base staff, and it's 30 seconds sometimes just to load that screen up.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I know 30 seconds doesn't sound like much, but goddamn, it's long when you just.
If you're in a menu, man, this can be any game. If you're in a menu and you're going to your inventory or something, and it takes that long to switch between like your map and your inventory, no, that should not take any longer than a second.
Absolutely not. And
for whatever
the
graphical
mode,
design they use to switch, that should be it.
Yeah, you go offline, problem disappears. So it's all Konami servers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't know if the PC version is having that problem, though I know the Xbox One version is.
I haven't had any slowdown issues, but I haven't actually gotten into any of the online portions. Like I haven't even looked at it. I don't care.
Once you start expanding your base out some,
I just don't want to, because I know where that road's going to lead. And
well, expanding your base doesn't require you have to go online, fortunately, at all. In fact, expanding your base is almost
I'm just
mandatory.
talking the entire FOB system, like the forward operating base thing, the thing we talked about before it came out.
Yeah, that I'm not getting into.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna fucking click on it.
Yeah, neither am I.
My whole plan.
No need to, no want to. Like
again, my only concern is going to be what happens when they do hopefully eventually release Metal Gear Online.
We'll see. We might even hear some more about that later tonight at the Tokyo Game Show, which, by the way, if you're living on the west coast of America, Tokyo Game Show, I think Sony's conference kicks off at 11 p.m. or their pre-game's like 11 p.m. and with midnight being when the show hits. Watch it tonight. I'll be taking a look at it, and we'll more than likely report on what's revealed next week. But I think Metal Gear Online is going to be discussed there, but we'll see.
We'll see what Konami does to fuck with it, and we'll see what Kojima does to save it.
Indeed. Enough Metal Gear Solid. I'm sure this is going to be a topic that we mention for multiple weeks on end.
Constantly.
So
we're all kind of huge Metal Gear nerds, so whatever.
But other things have happened, and one of the most important things happening this week is the release of the Taken King expansion for Destiny. Now, the Taken King, the 1-year anniversary of Destiny happened on the 9th last week. Taken King probably the biggest thing to release this month so far for certain. At least the biggest thing for the fall. And they changed things up rather dramatically with this expansion.
There's all kinds of new stuff going on. Like, well, you already know I don't play Destiny.
Correct.
It's just not a thing that I've gotten into. I also don't have a PS4, so that's a thing that can cause some issues. I swear I keep thinking you have a PS4, but I have to get one sooner rather than later. But at this point, I can play everything on PC. When the deciding factor was when they made it so MGS4 was released or MGS5 was released on the same day for PC and console. That's when I just didn't buy a PS4. That's what happened.
Fair enough.
But
go ahead.
There's a ton of stuff because just in the notes, the update for PS4 is 18 gigs.
Yes.
That's
it's a
ridiculous.
Massive update. They dramatically changed the way the game works, by the way. If you're familiar with Destiny, this is one of those things where if you don't know what Destiny is at all, you never played it, this is all going to sound really great to you. But if you played it once before and stopped playing because it was repetitive, take a look at it again, because it's not like you pay a subscription fee to it or anything like that. But the gear stat, all the item level has been crunched. So think like when World of Warcraft or any other MMO gets a little too big for its own good. and they have to kind of reduce all the stats. All that's been reduced down. So there's been some gear crunch. Bounties are now done up like a quest system to where you can turn them in the moment they're done rather than having to report back to the tower to turn them in. You can have 16 of them at once, and that's not including the story quests. And that's new as well. You actually have story quests you can fill out. The leveling system's been completely reworked. The concept of light has been dramatically changed. It's no longer based on your armor. You have a flat experience rate that you get to go up to 40. David, I'm not sure if you're aware, the way Destiny worked before is you earned experience like you normally would in MMO to about level 20. Mm-hmm. And then from level 20 to 34, you didn't earn experience anymore. Your level was determined by your gear.
Yeah, I get that, mainly because the way this system is redone, looking or reading the details on it, it really makes me think of some other games, but the one that comes to mind is Warframe. Have you ever played Warframe at all?
Very briefly.
Because you have, like, all the frames have levels, so your player has a level up to a max rank, and then all your gear has levels, and there's upgrades you can put on your gear. But there's a specific rating, and I can't for the life of me think of what that rating is called, but it's something very similar to what Light is going to be in Destiny, where it's based on the overall level and, I guess, damage numbers, defense numbers, stat numbers of your gear, give you like an effective combat level. So there's your character level, and then there's like your combat level, which you can use to really determine how well you do in PvP and against NPC,
That's
PvE.
kind of what Light's like right now. It's an aggregate of both armor and weaponry. I like to think of it more like an item level check from World of Warcraft, to where the game will let you know, hey, your gear is not adequate enough to fight this stuff.
That's fair.
But you can get up to 40 now, which is the new level cap, by the way, even having completely shitty gear. So you're not stuck at forever 29 or whatever it was if you can't get into the hard mode raids, which is something that really sucked about Destiny, is that you can't max out your character unless you get the hard mode raids, and you can't get into the hard mode raids unless you know 5 other people, because matchmaking doesn't exist for the raids, which is fucking stupid, by the way. It exists for everything else except the higher end raids, which is just dumb. Now, their logic behind it is, oh, you need to communicate between each other. It's like, motherfucker. I can go online and see what I need to do.
Yeah.
Just give me matchmaking. It's my choice to make that call. I don't know why they still haven't implemented matchmaking on Destiny, but we'll see where that goes.
It does seem strange because there's so many other games that'll allow you to just make a party easily.
Yeah. I mean, fucking even, I know I keep going back to World of Warcraft, but even that will let you do fucking looking for raid now.
Yeah, why not?
Fills in the people. Also included are going to be a smarter loot system, so you don't keep getting the same exotic drop over and over again. And Dinklebot's dead.
That's what I was just going to say. Dinklage is no longer in the game. All of his voice has been completely re-recorded by Nolan North.
And I'm fine with it.
Who, if you don't know, is the voice of, can you guess it? Do you know?
Yeah, he's the boss from Saints
Wrong. Deadpool.
Oh, in Deadpool game, yes. Actually, yes. The boss from Saints Row is Troy Baker. I take that back. Though you can pick in Saints Row 3 Nolan North as a voice.
Yep.
Just called Nolan North.
Male 1, male 2, male 3, female 1, female 2, female 3, Nolan North.
Yeah. Although, funny enough, male 1 is Troy Baker, who's arguably more famous than Nolan North is now.
Whatever.
And in more games than he is now.
It's Booker versus Nathan Drake.
I'm fine with that combination. I want to see him fight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But yeah, so that's Destiny's 2.0 patch. That's the stuff that's changed even without getting the Taken King expansion. If you do get the expansion, you get a whole new playable area, new arena maps, all the stuff that you'd expect in an expansion. And honestly, it looks like they're trying to actually put a story into Destiny. And people who have gotten a hold of the Taken King early say, yeah, there's actual cutscenes beyond what you saw in the original one. The story makes sense. It's not going to be like anything BioWare does, but it's going to be on par with anything that is in the Halo campaign.
That's cool.
So it looks like one of the biggest gripes has been fixed. They still have the Grimoires, though. The Grimoire system was fucking... It's still stupid. I don't get why you would take all this backstory that you have and hide it behind a wall where you have to go to Bungie.net to access.
That's super weird.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Let me access it like a codex from Mass Effect. Let me just access it that way. Don't make me actually log out of your game that you have an active interest in me staying logged in on to go to your website, which actually has no advertising on it. So it's not that I'm going there to give you clicks to read all this. It's a really, really weird design choice that I just never understood.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
As something that's just completely absurd and forces you to go to a website, then you don't really want to because that's not why you're doing what you're doing.
The Final Fantasy IX strategy guide?
Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. Play online. The worst strategy guide ever made. If you want to know details on how to beat this boss, go to Play Online for more details.
Then why the fuck did I buy the guide?
Yeah, shouldn't have done it.
Oh, God, that was a horrible mistake. Yeah, if you guys want to take a look at something that was just horribly done and poorly thought out, Google the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. I know a lot of you people were probably like in grade school now when Final Fantasy IX came out, though it is a comedy of errors worth taking a look at, and pray that we never do again. While we're on the topic of Square, something came out last week. A fellow put up on LinkedIn, he was looking for another job, and he worked for Square Enix, and he's a game designer out of Osaka, and he put on his LinkedIn resume that he worked on something called Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
Which is not a thing that currently exists.
No, not at all. Now, this comes via KH13.com. It's a Kingdom Hearts fan site with a whole bunch of news information, but they uncovered
and
this
rumors.
LinkedIn post here. Let me bring it up for you. Game designer Square Enix, August 2014 to June 2015, 11 months, he worked on Kingdom Hearts 2.9 on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, including idea planning and documentation, game check and bounce, boss planning, and attraction flow planning and documentation. I have no idea what attraction flow is, by the way.
I don't either. Sounds awesome.
He also worked on Kingdom Hearts 3, and you can see all the stuff down here. By the way, it sounds like the gummy ship is back in Kingdom Hearts 3, if you didn't hear about that. What the fuck, though, is Kingdom Hearts 2.9 is the question, because no one knows right now.
Well, we can go back to the fact that Square is really weird at naming things.
This is true. Let us not forget Final Fantasy Dissidia Dodecadium.
Thank you. Because I actually can't say that because it's too ridiculous.
I don't even know if I pronounce it right. But you folks at home know what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. It's the fucking PSP game that sounded ridiculous.
Yeah. Any theories as to what this Kingdom Hearts 2.9 might be?
There's really just one theory. I know we just discussed it, at least that we can come up with, and that it's a kind of prequel demo side story before the game.
Similar to what that Final Fantasy, was it Final Fantasy 15 Arigato or Agiro? That disc that was released with Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Yeah. That game that everyone bought names.
The other Final Fantasy name.
Yeah, think back to Metal Gear. Think Ground Zeroes. We think that Kingdom Hearts 2.9 is going to be Kingdom Hearts 3's version of Ground Zeroes.
A playable demo that, as opposed to being content in the main game, is either a subquest, side quest, or pre-quest to the storyline of Kingdom Hearts 3.
That sounds very reasonable to me. I don't see this being anything else but that.
Or maybe it's just, hey, here's the last boss fight of Kingdom Hearts 2, but done up in Kingdom Hearts 3 graphics.
With access to some of that last boss fight in KH2 was awesome.
With access to some of the new KH3 moves and stuff like that.
Though you do mention boss fight, let me bring up that LinkedIn profile again. It does say boss planning, so it's not like a demo or game. I mean, it could be a demo, but it's not like a mini story or anything like that. It's a physical game with an actual boss in it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see what it is.
We'll probably have the most details on it. The easiest way to figure out what this is to find out what the price point is when they release that.
Yeah, there's a good chance we might hear about it this week, by the way, at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, it may be talked about around midnight tonight. Who knows?
We'll find out in 3 to 72 hours. Somewhere between 3 hours from now and 3 days from now, we'll probably know. But yeah, fuck, Kingdom Hearts 2.9. Stupid name, but anything with that Kingdom Hearts franchise attached to it is just going to sell. And before we go on to the next topic, let me, how do you feel? Go ahead.
I just wanted to call it, because Life and Cinema in chat's asking any word on whether or not they're incorporating Marvel assets into Kingdom Hearts.
I haven't heard anything on that
yet. At this time, we don't know of anything like that, if they are doing it.
No idea.
They've been kind of quiet on that front.
Here's the bigger question, because keep in mind they own this too. Any word on if they're going to be adding Star Wars into Kingdom Hearts?
See, that's the giant question. Who knows what the fuck?
Because I want to see Magneto versus Darth Vader.
Yeah, why not?
I can't wrap my head around that. Once again, remember, Disney owns your childhood now. Like, literally owns your childhood.
Yeah.
They they don't own DC, sure, but who cares about DC?
Hey, fuck you. DC's awesome.
Is it Marvel?
No, but it's awesome.
But the point is, they own Marvel and they own Star Wars now.
Mm-hmm.
They own all the Disney stuff, clearly. Them and Warner Brothers are very much in bed together these days. In fact, I think Disney owns part of Warner Brothers now. I'm not positive on that. That could just be a wild rumor. But we'll take a look at it. Life Cinema says, I better get suited for Infinity Pods. Yeah, the Disney Infinity is doing really well for them, and they're going to keep cranking that out. So we'll see where that goes up. But yeah.
How stoked would you be if you were playing Kingdom Hearts and you ran into like Boba Fett or something who had a side quest for you to track somebody down?
I'd be super stoked. See, here's the problem. I think Kingdom Hearts would be far more impactful when you're playing those games if you know nothing about the world you're going to. But there's no way we're not going to know every single world we're going to.
Before it comes out.
Yeah, like imagine playing through the second one and all of a sudden you get zapped into Tron, like it just happens, and you don't know that there's a Tron part in the game.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Unfortunately, the way trailers go and the way Square likes to build hype, we'll know most.
You'll know everything about that game before it comes out. That's just the way it's going to be.
It's rough.
Enough Square talk.
Random aside, I recently found a copy of the Marvel comic that was released when Star Wars came out in 1977. That is Star Wars issue 1 of the Marvel comic series. Which is very entertaining to me because it's the Marvel Star Wars comic that at that point in time would have been the Sweet Alliance. At this point in time, Disney just making a decision.
Fair enough. Enough Disney. We're going to move on to something that we're both interested in, and that's Dark Souls 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, I was a fan. I never played the first one. Or I take that back. I never played Demon Souls.
Okay.
I played Dark Souls. Really liked it. Never finished it. Didn't quite click with me, but I enjoyed where it was going. Played Dark Souls 2 some. Was like, whatever. Loved Bloodborne.
All right.
Dark Souls 3 was announced very recently. Well, not very recently, but we knew it was coming. We didn't quite know when, though, but a release date for it has been dropped in a press release from Namco themselves. It is coming March 24th, 2016 in Japan. Let me clarify that again. This is the Japanese release date. Why are we talking about it, however? Because traditionally, the Souls games have been very close to release in their worldwide counterparts. Bloodborne, I believe, was only a day apart. Dark Souls 1 and 2 were no more than 2 weeks apart. So there is a good chance America will have this early March, or what's the month after March? April?
Yeah.
No
now, here's
later
the
than the first week of April.
Part about this, though, is that yes, it is very likely that Dark Souls 3 will be released in the U.S. around late March, April, on PS4 and Xbox. Expect the PC version to come out in like August.
Yeah,
because if you remember from the other Dark Souls games, is From Software isn't a PC company.
They have to outsource it.
They have to outsource this. Dark Souls 1 had just fuck tons of issues when it came out on PC, but they still released it and they tried their best, and so no one actually really got mad at them. And a lot of it was fixed fairly easy just with mods and things like that. Dark Souls 2, the PC release was much smoother, but again, it was delayed. So I would definitely count on Dark Souls 3 not being released on PC anywhere near March of next year.
Absolutely not. I don't expect that either.
Which pisses me off because that's the one I'm going to play.
The PC version?
Yep.
I've gotten my hands on it when it was at PAX. It does play a lot more like the first one. It's a lot more claustrophobic. It's a lot more... So the second one was kind of more of a, here's your central hub, and then you go branch off to these random worlds, whereas the first one was kind of like one massive setting, and you just found more shortcuts.
Is one of my favorite part of that, is the way that it actually felt like one big world that was connected and had passageways, and you find this secret elevator that takes you to a place, and you're like, I know exactly where I am, and I understand how this links together, whereas the second one, I'm on a boat underground somewhere. What the fuck?
Yeah. Bloodborne did something very similar. I will say, where it all led back to itself. What I played of Dark Souls 3 at PAX follows Dark Souls 1 a lot more than it does 2.
which I'm so excited
so
for.
they're going back to true to form. So yeah, if you're in America, I would definitely expect this sometime around the Japanese launch of March 24th for Dark Souls 3.
If you haven't played a Dark Souls game yet, just wait for some kind of sale and get the first one cheap. I would probably recommend the first one over the second one.
The second one was just on sale on Steam very recently.
I'm hoping that in the third one, agility is not as nerfed as it was in the second one.
We'll see. They've always been weird with the stats.
Yeah.
Like, the game clearly wants you to sometimes play in a very specific build.
And then there's the guys that find the other builds, and those are the favorites. Dark Souls, you just run around on a loincloth with a big-ass sword with maxed out agility and just whoop, 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 murder. Whoop,
I want max damage, minimum armor, and as fast as I can move. Because
just learn to parry. That's the best way to play that.
Absolutely. And the thing about Dark Souls is you can just be a total tank and you still die in 2 hits.
Yeah, depending. But you can also be a total tank and kill somebody in 1.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to jump topics kind of rapidly here to something that I care about, but a lot of you probably don't, is the fact that, come here, the guy who does Silent Hill's music, I should say, Akira, hold on, well, let me bring up this Destructoid link right here, and this will explain better than I can. Essentially, the composer for all the Silent Hill music is going on tour. His name is Akira Yamaoka. And the Silent Hill soundtrack is some of the best music that I have ever heard in a video game, taking out the pots and pans clanging together stuff. But the actual vocal work is amazing. And the man who composed it all, and he's also the producer of the game, by the way, is going on tour in the UK for 5 cities, 1 night only in each. He's going to hit Bristol, Cardiff, London, Southampton, and Manchester. And goddamn, this man needs to come to San Francisco, because I would pay a ton of money to watch this man perform his music live.
I believe it. This is one of those things where you kind of want it to be at Video Games Live, you know, just have him show up.
But yeah, good to see that he's still getting to do stuff with this, even though Konami has kind of gone straight to hell, which makes me wonder if he actually owns the rights to the music or not.
Yeah, who knows?
Does he physically own the rights to his music that he composed, or is that all under Konami's belt and only Konami do it? Let me bring up that Destructoid link again. Let's see if we can find Konami's name posted anywhere here.
I don't think you do. I mean, I can be completely wrong.
This is the poster for it. I don't see Konami's name anywhere on this. So I'm really
he made music. He owns rights to his stuff.
It. Well, that doesn't necessarily always mean it, because the Marty O'Donnell Bungie case that we talked about last week, Marty O'Donnell won it, but Bungie owns his music he made for it. He can't release any of it on his own. So I don't know. I'd be very interested to see how that works out.
It could also depend that, say, Konami owns the music for the recent games, but maybe he still has the rights to the scores in the 1 and 2, for example.
That is a poster of 2 on there, which had the best music.
So maybe it's just before Konami became total shitbags, this guy still had access to his own music. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Also,
we'll probably watch all of it on YouTube, and it'll be dope. But we don't get anything. So
also not mentioned in there is if Mary Elizabeth McGlynn is going to be the singer to it. She is the singer from, well, the franchise until very recently. So it'll be interesting to see if they dragged her out. She's also a voice actor. She's been in a lot of stuff. I believe she was the voice of the Major from Ghost in the Shell. I believe that's her.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I was excited about that. That's the main reason why I mentioned it, and I'm very disappointed he's only doing 5 nights in the UK. Something that we're not disappointed in, however, is Fallout 4, and it's shaping up to look fantastic.
Oh yeah, this game looks really good. Every time I see something new on Fallout 4, I get pretty damn excited, with an exception to this news.
And that news is, well, they're going to have a season pass, which in itself is fine, but they have no idea what's going to be in that season pass, yet they tell us it's going to be worth $30.
Yep. That's kind of ridiculous, because it's one of those, we get mad about pre-orders, we get mad about paying for stuff that you don't actually have access to immediately, because it's a stupid video game layaway with no promise that at the end of the 3 months you actually get that bicycle that you wanted.
Exactly. It could be a fucking flat, come with flat tires, but you've already paid for it, or anything else. The season pass is even worse, however, in the fact that if you pre-order Fallout 4, you know you're getting Fallout 4, right?
Yep.
If you pre-order the season pass for $30 is what they're charging for, you have no fucking clue what's going to be in it. Are they going to
be horse armor?
It could just be horse
here's where
armor.
you can customize your house and here's like some new paints.
Now,
All kinds of weird shit.
All this said, it will more than likely be what they've done in the past. 4 standalone expansions, plus or minus a couple extra things thrown in. That's what they did for Fallout 3. That's what they did for New Vegas.
And it's pretty safe to assume that with this, just with a Bethesda game in general, there's going to be at least 2 major DLCs that were released.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm fine with that idea. I just don't like this whole. We don't know what's going to be in it yet, so we can't tell you. But you can sure as hell get $30 set aside for it.
Yep.
It's like no.
It's an annoying practice that is kind of representative of where the industry is right now.
Absolutely.
It's very, very frustrating to see companies asking for money before they even have an offer. Like, this is worse than Kickstarter to me, because at least with something like Kickstarter, which is the pre-purchase type of game, they at least tell you an idea of what they're going for, especially with like tier rewards and things like that. This is just, hey, give us some money and we'll make this thing when we get around to it, and it'll probably be cool.
This is literally saying, give us $30 and we'll give you something. It's a mystery box. You might as well be purchasing a loot crate at this point. But at least loot crate, yeah. You're getting a Fallout 4 loot crate of digital content. You don't know what's going to be in it. Could be good. Could be bad.
Now, I don't know if this is the shitty or the good part about it, but it is Bethesda. Whatever content comes with it is probably going to be rad.
Yeah, their expansions are all solid.
There's going to be a bunch of people to buy it.
I can't think of a bad expansion that they've done. There have been some mediocre ones, but none of them ever really flat out sucked.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
The only expansion I wasn't like super stoked with, I was thinking back to Skyrim, was like Hearthfire. I mean, it was still cool. I just didn't give a shit about it.
Well, we'll see how it goes out when the game launches November 10th. And boy, is November 10th going to be crowded, because you have Fallout 4, you got Tomb Raider, and now you got the new StarCraft coming up. StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void launches November 10th.
On behalf of myself, dear Tomb Raider, and StarCraft, you're fucked.
No, see, I don't necessarily. No, Tomb Raider is fucked. Yes, Tomb Raider is absolutely fucked.
But as far as myself, I don't give a shit about those other 2 things.
I think Tomb Raider is just fucked in general. I think StarCraft 2 has enough of a niche market on its own to where it would go, yeah, we're going to release inside Fallout 4, and everyone's still going to buy it. I don't think it's going to affect it too much. The timing's still questionable because you want as much market share as you can get. So releasing it on November 10th is questionable, but it's not going to like impact it negatively, I don't think. But yeah, last Sunday,
Hell, I would at least push it a week though.
Yeah,
throw back on the 17th.
Or push it up a week, one or the other. But last Sunday, Blizzard announced the release date and also showed off this cinematic trailer. Once again, showing that Blizzard, no one can come close to touching what Blizzard does in cinematic trailers. I want a movie from these people. Bad. And not the upcoming Warcraft movie by Duncan Jones. I want it to be all CG like what you're seeing right here.
Basically, I want the preview for Overwatch. I want that, but like 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like a Blizzard quality production, which is like a Pixar quality animated production.
No, I can definitely get into that. I would love to see that.
Or a miniseries. Fuck, why not?
Yeah, just give it to me. Give me more than just these 3-minute little delicious bits. I want more.
Make a StarCraft Ghost miniseries, and it's basically like the old Starship Troopers cartoon.
A game that they've never technically officially canceled, by the way.
Yeah, so maybe it's a miniseries now. Who knows?
That I know of. They might have shoved it off long ago. But yeah, November 10th. Dear God, it's going to be fucking crowded with Fallout 4, that, and Tomb Raider. Once again, Tomb Raider, I love the first one. I'm really looking forward to playing Tomb Raider. But man, you're being sent out to die. You are a console exclusive surrounded by big blockbuster games.
Yep, and I'm totally going to buy that game when it's on sale on the Steam sale.
Yeah, that's what I did for the first one.
Yeah. But that game's amazing. Like that game was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Tomb Raider's fantastic, and I feel like it needs more justice than being picked up at the discount bin at GameStop.
Yep. Fucking GameStop.
Speaking of GameStop, while we're on that topic, they're dying. Brick and mortar stores are going out of business. Weird. Digital is cutting into their profits really, really hard. It's getting to the point now to where the publishers like EA and Sony and Microsoft hate dealing with GameStop. They're a middleman. Everyone hates dealing with a middleman.
Yep.
Because they
especially
take
when
they
can
profits.
They can release their stuff directly to consumers now.
And that's what
very
the internet's
easily
letting people do. We're all slowly going to that internet age of being able to download everything. Internet infrastructure in America is still not where it needs to be, but it's getting there. And more people are completely going away from discs into digital medium. And it's killing GameStop to the point to where they're kind of retaliating back a little bit. In this report from the Motley Fool, it says that GameStop refused to sell this kind of Xbox or PlayStation 4 bundles. The headline, essentially, if a console bundle has digital games in it, GameStop won't carry it.
That's so ridiculous.
It's stupid.
Like I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to limit themselves to physical copies. Because here's the thing that they don't like about digital stuff. They have no opportunity to resell that.
And that's where most of their money comes from.
Yeah, when you trade in games to GameStop and they resell them, they make 100% of the profit there.
Yeah,
they don't
absolutely.
give shit to the developer.
If they sell a new game for $60, they paid $59 for that game. There's no markup on the new games. It's the stuff that is their big thing. Now, there's a lot of hate for GameStop out there. I have always liked GameStop. I worked for GameStop for a couple years. I've never had any bad problems with them. I think they get a lot of irrational hate. I feel the same way about EA. They get a lot of irrational hate. Excuse me.
They've done a couple screwy things that piss off people, and they've done some good things, and a lot of the times the good things are far outshined by a couple of really bad instances. My major thing, though, is I'm just thinking of the GameStop credit card and the fucking nightmare that was.
That's stupid. I'm glad they kind of stopped pushing that. That was idiotic. But what brings us up was that, according to this article, last month, Microsoft partnered with Electronic Arts to release, that there should be a space in to release there, a special Madden 16 Xbox One bundle. This bundle, which retails for $400, includes a 1 terabyte version of the Xbox One console, a free year of EA Access, which is kind of their shitty version of PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold, and a digital download code for EA's hit football game Madden 16. If you buy it at a Best Buy or any other places carrying it. But if you go to a GameStop, they rip the digital code out and replace it with a physical copy, so that way you're enticed to trade it back in, and you don't get the 12-month subscription to EA Access.
And it's the same price.
Yeah, it's the exact same price, and it's I want to use a stronger word than dumb, but it's fucking dumb. I get that you guys are slowly being turning irrelevant, but fuck.
Welcome to GameStop. Go fuck yourself.
This quote from GameStop CEO Paul Raines just kind of gives the arrogance behind it. If platform holders continue to put in free games and promotional items, we anticipate that at GameStop you'll see more physical bundles from third parties as opposed to digital bundles. We choose not to participate in the digital bundles. Essentially, what he's saying is we're powerful enough to force this change. And I don't think they're going to be that powerful for too long. It's kind of a hubris. Really not. It's a hubris that they have that's going to be one of the big causes of their downfall.
Well, answer me this honestly.
Okay.
When is the last time that you walked into a GameStop with the intention of buying anything from that store? Not, I'm bored and I'm waiting for my Starbucks to be done, or fucking whatever.
Was the PlayStation 4 release of Grand Theft Auto 5 when I was living here in Alameda, and I had to go to the Fruitvale Station, Oakland GameStop to pick it up at midnight. And I will always remember that being my last time to went to GameStop because I was fucking terrified.
That's fair.
Like from a mile away.
For me, it's been forever. Like I've wandered into GameStops almost on accident in like recenter memory in the last couple of years, just to be like, "Hey, it's a GameStop. Let's go in and take a look."
Once in a while.
But then I get there and I'm like, "Wait, there's absolutely nothing here that I can't get in a better way."
Yeah, exactly. I can buy it on Steam and
GameStop. I don't want to buy a used, refurbished phone from you.
No, that's dumb too. I can't believe they're trying to get into that. I don't know if they still are because it's been that long since I've been in a GameStop.
It's just I don't know what they're doing.
But yeah, the last time I actually bought something from there was whenever Grand Theft Auto 5 released. So think about that. 3 or 4 years by now.
Well, just think about it, because a lot of entertainment-based stores are kind of dying off anyway. Because if you think of other stores that sell just music, think of the last time you went into a record store. Oh, right. There's fucking none of them. Or a store that just sells movies.
Yeah, remember Suncoast and FYE and all that stuff? They're gone.
Yeah.
And places that rented them, too, are gone, too. Blockbuster and Hollywood Video don't exist.
Blockbuster held on as long as it's good. I saw one in Alaska not last year.
There was one in where I lived up to a year ago, and that finally went down.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things that GameStop's holding on by the skin of their teeth and their resell ability, which is the only real difference they have from a lot of those other electronic stores, is the fact that they have a big push into used material, and they have a trade-in process. So you go in, you trade in a bunch of shit, and you get some amount of money, a very measly amount for how much they're going to resell your shit for.
It depends on what it is.
This is a big part of their business model.
It is a big part of their business model. My umbrage is the measly amount what they're selling it for. If you wait like 4 or 5 months, yeah, you're going to get shit. But if you beat a game and turn it back in within usually a month's time, you can get roughly about half to what you paid for it back.
Which isn't that bad.
No, it's not. Now, they turn around and sell it for $5 less. You can say that's kind of like a kick in the nuts. What I think GameStop needs to do to survive is, instead of doing this whole, you can buy the new copy for $59 or you can buy the used copy for $54, it needs to be, here is a brand new game that came out this week for $60, or you can buy this fucking used copy that we have here for $40.
Yeah, it should be a more significant discount.
Absolutely.
But that'll cut some of their overhead, or cut some of their profits.
Well, they have to expand somehow. My idea is they try to do the Walmart thing. Walmart has very slim profit margins on anything. It's just they fucking sell mass quantities of it. And so their profit margins...
Start making their own bundles.
Yeah, same with gas. I mean, gas has an extremely small profit margin. Most of your money on gas goes to the government. But it's that everyone buys it, and that's what GameStop needs to do if they want to stay relevant. Find that sweet price to... Yeah, it sucks that you're going to be selling games for cheaper and your profit margin on each game might not be as high, but if you're selling more because of it, that's where you need to focus on. Raising it up, because when I worked at GameStop for 2 years, and new games used to be $47.9. Used games used to be $45. Then went to $47, then went to $49, and then went to $55 in the span of the 2 years I was there.
Which is just ridiculous.
It gets to the point where it's like, no. For $5, I'll just fucking buy what I know is going to be a complete game out of the box.
Yep. Because you don't know what's taken out of the used one.
No, exactly.
Oh, some of my favorites are the used ones where they don't have a cover and someone drew it on as best they could.
We used to have a, not to go off on this rad tangent, but there was a gentleman at the GameStop that I worked with, who, one of the employees there, a bigger guy, full beard, big glasses, and what the manager would do is every time we got a Cabela's game in, he would find the picture of the bear on there and draw that guy's glasses on there for every used copy. So it got to the point to where when I took over one of the GameStops in that same district, people were trading those Cabela games, and I'd go, "Oh, you bought this one from so and so at this store." He's like, "Yep, how'd you know?" I'm like, "Because that's his signature trademark move on there."
That's pretty good. So
yeah, he would just turn the bear from Cabela into his employee, which was just hilarious, I thought. But yeah, I mean, that stuff happens. I'd rather spend the $5 and just get a brand new copy. But yeah, GameStop, they're slowly dying. They're going to go the way of Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, which sucks because I don't hate GameStop.
Just kind of hate some of their practices, but it's the nature of them trying to survive that makes this mad at them.
Yeah,
it's the way they're trying to keep in business is making people upset, which is making them go out of business quicker, and they just really need to remarket themselves and rebrand themselves to actually have a chance. I mean, they could turn themselves into not just a store that sells games, but like a game store in the sense of like a place that sells like trinkets. You can get hoodies, you can get shirts, you can get all kinds of shit. You know, make it more of a hobby shop for games, as opposed to a Blockbuster Video.
In fact, I think GameStop's subsidiary, was it Think Geek? I think GameStop owns Think Geek. They opened up their first brick-and-mortar store recently. So they're definitely testing that out. But Princess Leia said it best when she was talking to Grand Moff Tarkin. The more you tighten your grip, the more systems will slip through your fingers.
Oh. Star Wars is back just then.
Yeah, Star Wars. Good stuff.
It counts because we were talking about EA earlier.
The final bit of news for the week happened last night, actually, and Nintendo now has a new president to replace dearly departed Iwata. The fellow by the name of Tatsumi Kimishima has become the new president of Nintendo. He will be taking over essentially from Iwata's reins and going from there. Now, they announced this in a press release. I'll bring this right up here. Failed to load PDF document. Awesome.
Nailed it.
Nailed
So
it.
the main thing to know from this guy is that he's not just some random outside hire. He is the former president of Nintendo of America
And of the Pokemon Company.
And so, he's got some pedigree behind him.
He is the man that he is the businessman that turned Pokemon to the juggernaut that he is. Now, there is some concern because this gentleman, Mr. Kimishima, he's not a game developer. He's not like Miyamoto or Takeda or anyone else. He is strict business. He came from a major Tokyo bank, I think Bank of Tokyo, actually, before he joined Nintendo. So he is all about driving numbers, and he is definitely Lord business through and through. But, like I said, he was the CFO of the Pokemon Company, head of Pokemon USA, head of Nintendo of America before Reggie took over Nintendo of America, and now he's the head of all of Nintendo. Now,
and the thing is that I understand that he's not a game developer, but at this point in time for Nintendo, it might not be a bad idea to have someone with a little bit more, business drive at the front of the company.
In fact, he is infamous/famous for saying that the Wii U is going to bomb. Don't release this console. It's too much like the Wii U. Like, he was a big negative force on it. He did not want the Wii U to launch because he thought it was behind the times. He thought it was going to be too similar to the Wii U, and he thought it was not going to do well. The Wii, rather. And he thought the Wii U was just going to suck. And the Wii U sucks. It's not selling at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be why he was put into position of CEO, because he had the foresight to see that Nintendo's upcoming console, then the Wii U, was not going to do well.
And that's fair.
And he was completely right. It's not doing well.
We'll see where he goes with it, because if he knows how to get Nintendo in a more driven just mentality, like, hey, we're not going to just be the guys on the outside, but we're actually going to, throw our hats in the ring and start actually competing with the people we used to compete with. Because that's kind of where Nintendo is right now, is that you don't really see them as a direct competitor to Sony and Microsoft. At least I don't anymore.
Yeah,
Sony and Microsoft are fighting each other for the same marketing, for the same space in the market. They're trying to be like your home console.
Absolutely.
The Wii and the Wii U are the extra console that you have.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, it was very common to find people that had a PS3 or an Xbox 360. Not as common to see someone that had both, but easy to see that same person with a Wii.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Nintendo is famous for doing their own thing. I think it just bit them in the ass this time around, and they need someone who has a little bit more of a businessy mindset to go, hey, this is what we're doing. In that press release, I tried to load up, but quite didn't. Other news was that Miyamoto and Takeda are now listed as fellows in addition to their other titles. Now, one of them is a creative fellow, the other is a technical fellow. What that essentially means is that Nintendo recognizes that they are fucking experts in what they do, and that their word should be given a little bit more weight in the business meetings.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's how I interpret that as. It could mean something else completely different, but if I were to read between the lines and what that PDF that didn't load would say, that's what I feel like it should say.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what ends.
We'll see how it goes. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how Nintendo goes. That does it for news of this week. We're going to move on to some new releases. For this week, we have, first off, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 for damn near everything. PCs, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and 360. Yeah, I know America doesn't care. America doesn't really buy the PES stuff at all, but the rest of the world sure does.
Sell like fucking
this is the world's
everywhere else but here. Yeah, pretty much.
So look forward to that. Also this week, Skyshine's Bedlam on PC. I had a chance to play this at PAX. It was really rough. I was kind of thinking, when I played, I went, this is a good solid base. You give them about 6 to 8 months to finish it up, it'll be good. And then I was made aware that it releases 2 weeks from when I played it. And I went, ugh.
Ooh, what are you guys doing?
It's like a combination of Mad Max meets Convoy on the PC. It's a roguelike. You're on a alien planet. You're in a convoy, for the most part, traveling from the north of the map down south, and you have random encounters that turn into tactical, turn-based, grid-style combat.
All
right. I can't recommend it, though I like the concept of it. You have the aforementioned Destiny the Taken King on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and 360. That's going to be huge as well. That should launch tonight. I don't know when, actually. maybe 2 a.m. when the stuff rolls around, everything goes live. It could go at midnight tonight. It could go at 9.
Just depends on and probably whatever time zone the central server for that game is in.
We'll see how that rolls over. Rounding it out, you have NHL 2016 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and then you have something that you might be interested in, Dava, Forza Motorsport 6 on the Xbox One.
That game is probably going to be rad as hell.
Any word if that's coming over the PC or not?
I, at this time, don't think so.
Microsoft's doing a big PC push again. Remember how a couple years ago they went, we're done with PC gaming, they completely pulled out? They're coming back hard into it now.
I haven't read anything because I mean I pay a little bit of attention to Forza. I just don't have access to it for the most part.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'd like to see it on PC. It'd be a fun game to play.
I would not be surprised.
The Forza
if they had it on
Motorsport
PC
series
in a
is
year.
pretty damn good, and 6 looks to be pretty awesome. I'm still able to keep my interest with Project Cars right now, so we'll see. You know,
We'll
if
definitely
they
see how that
take me
goes.
away.
That wraps up new releases. At this point, we would normally turn the show over to Sean to talk about esports news, but as you can see, he's not here with us right now. However, there is one bit of information. Yeah, he's been very quiet, hasn't he?
Well, the main thing is that there are going to be some things happening this next week, so we will have a lot of information next week. Because
this was a dead week anyways, so.
Exactly, yeah. So a lot of the people that are getting ready to go to Worlds know that they're going to Worlds, so it's less of a big deal right this second.
One bit of information did come out. I don't know if this necessarily falls into old news, but it's definitely interesting. David, why don't you go ahead? You found it, so why don't you go ahead and lead it?
It's newish news, and it's basically that the very first League of Legends eSport event in Oceania has been announced. So in the Oceania region, it's the IWCA. It'll take place from November 26th to 29th at the Margaret Court Arena in Melbourne, Australia. So if you are a League of Legends fan, and you are living in Australia, and I know you're watching our show, you actually have a chance to go see some Pro League of Legends play. So that sounds exciting. Players in this region are Turkey, Russia, Japan, Brazil, Southeast Asia, Latin America, all kinds of people. So it'll be kind of cool. This is more or less the wild card, all-stars, who's your favorite players, throwing down in all these weird matches. They do wild card matches every year. It's or like an all-star match, but this is the first time we're seeing an actual event take place in Australia for League of Legends. Also, if you want to go, it's fairly cheap.
It's 26 Australian.
Yeah, it's like 25, 30 Australian dollars to go. So I mean, you're not looking at spending $100 ticket. So
sounds good. And when was it again?
It is the 26th, 7th, and 8th, I believe. 26th to 29th, I'm sorry.
Of November.
Of November.
All right. I think that actually winds up the show. We're ending right on time at 9 o'clock. David, is there anything else you want to go ahead and add in before we shut down for the night?
Wait, we're on time?
I know. It's either way short or way too long.
That's so weird. All right, cool. Go us.
Awesome.
I'm probably just going to go play a ton of Metal Gear so we can get more details on that and not tell anybody but each other about it.
Yeah, expect the Metal Gear spoiler cast to happen sometime in November or December, I think. Should be adequate time
There'll be a lot of warning, and honestly, I don't know if we'd want to do it on the regular show date.
I kind of want to do a separate
It would probably be a separate
Like
broadcast.
a 20-minute, hey, let's get together on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And
like, hey, this is our final thoughts. We all sit in a lounge and we drink cappuccino or something. Here's our final thoughts on Metal Gear.
I would like to do something like that. Since we're all playing it, and it's so rare for us all to be such obsessed with one game. Normally it's two of us, and the third person's like, yeah, fuck that game.
Yeah, pretty much. It's usually me. It's like, fuck you guys.
Fair enough. Excuse me. Well, this has been Game Points. If you're watching us live on Twitch, I truly appreciate it. I'm sure that we all do. You can join us every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you're watching us at another time, or if you just can't happen to catch the live show, you can also catch us on YouTube. Just type in Game Points, one word, we pop right up there. Go to our channel, you can watch all of our previous shows, as well as my occasional streaming, plus Sean Brown's series, In the Court of the Disco King, where he breaks down some League of Legends stuff. We're still working on it, but I expect more videos to be put in there at the same time. You can follow the show at GamePoints PC, you can email the show at GamePointsPC@gmail.com, and you can give us a like over on Facebook at GamePoints Podcast. You can follow us all individually. I am Stephen Brown. You can follow me at CapitalistPig21. Our normal esports commentator isn't here right now, but he's Sean Brown. You can follow him at @Disco_King. He also occasionally streams. Turn to his Twitter, and you can follow him when he actually goes online. And David Smith down there is our third co-host, and you can follow him at Satori if you're interested. He doesn't really do anything with it, so I wouldn't bother, but you can if you want. Once again, thanks for joining Game Points, and we are out of here.